In this episode, I was lucky enough to sit down with Liam Gray, co-founder of Live Great Adventures. Liam tells a story of being diagnosed with bipolar and also explains the grief of losing two friends. And he discusses how he got out in nature, and that's really spiralled a journey for him to help himself and help other people around him. Liam, thanks very much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it, and I'm really grateful obviously that you're here being able to share this story. We've spoke about it, and I think we've probably only touched on, we spoke for a while, but I think there's still so much to go through, and it's hard to even cover it all now.
Yeah,
you know, it really is. So yeah, again, thank you. I do appreciate your time on it. And Live Great Adventures is what you're running now with Joe.
Yeah.
And this podcast is really just to give you that space and that time to talk about what that is really. But go back to the beginning and how you kind of led up to this point in your life, and kind of what you and Joe are both doing now. So yeah, I just want to try and give you that space and time to be able to go through that. So in terms of Live Great Adventures, are you okay to give us a brief understanding of what that is, and then if you can go back to that beginning point for us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for having us and for the opportunity to share this story.
Yeah.
So yeah, Live Great Adventures is a adventure lifestyle therapy organisation. We started off very humbly as a walking group, taking a bunch of guys for a walk and talk across the hills, just to give space for people to share the stories and just help each other along on the journey. It was the first walk was just such a profound experience where at the end of it, somebody turned around to us and said, after today, I realised my life's worth living. And it was that kind of stuck with me, and I thought, this is something that I can't stop now. You know, became a mission to continue and provide those opportunities for people to share. So it's been a wonderful journey so far. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the journey has been like a long journey to get to this point. Are you okay to go back to the beginning of it? I know kind of leaving the army and things for you. Are you okay to go back to that and talk around how that started?
Yeah. So we started from a place of lived experience. So for me, I got bipolar, and I was struggling mentally through my childhood. Really, I was raised in a bit of a domestic war zone, and very quickly realised that I wanted out, and the military provided that opportunity for me. So after serving 6.5 years, I got out for custody of my eldest son, and I struggled to transition into civilian life. I really struggled with that kind of loss of identity. I couldn't really hold down a job for long. And what had happened is I go into these phases of really doing well in life, and then everything just crash. I couldn't hold the pace. I'd crash, and I found myself going back onto square one time and time again. And it came a point where I just wanted out. I was living a daymare maybe, and life was just so painful for me that on reflection, I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live the way that I was living. And so I made a decision to end things. Luckily that never materialised, and I survived, but it was a turning point for me to try to seek and get some help. The first time I survived, I got like an A5 piece of paper from a doctor. You know, he said, "Do you know what you was doing?" And I said, "Yeah, I knew what I was doing." I said, here's a piece of paper, like ring that number if you need help. And that was it. That was all the help that was there. It made me realise that, like, you know, if I don't do something, you know, I am going to succeed in these attempts. Getting the help, and getting the diagnosis really, I just, sorry, I can't do it. Why am I nervous? Well, I can't do this. Sorry, mate. Just bear with me.
Honestly, take your time.
Why am I getting so nervous?
Yeah, take your time.
Bear
honestly.
with me.
Yeah.
I'm overthinking it. Sorry.
No, don't worry. Honestly, you survived that first time, which is what we kind of spoke about, and then there was up and downs, wasn't there? And
Yeah.
it kind of went back. You kind of find yourself back in that.
Yeah,
Back in that situation.
I'd find myself going like cycling through.
Yeah.
I would have periods in my life where I was, I was thriving.
Yeah.
I felt like I was me again.
Yeah.
I'm back, I'm fine, and everything's fine. But on the surface level, and then I couldn't sustain the pace, and I would always crash back to square one. But it would get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
There was, like I said, there was 3 attempts. Three attempts, and on the third attempt, I got into a state of a psychosis, a psychotic episode that was one of the most terrifying moments of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up with a condition called Cotard syndrome, where whether it's through the trauma of what I'd done or something like that, my brain had to justify what happened, and it went through phases of my life where I didn't realise if I was actually living or I'd actually passed away.
Okay.
And it sounds crazy to talk about that. And on the surface, if somebody would have said that without me experiencing it, I'd have felt the same.
Yeah.
But it was terrifying. It was like the brackets of reality that we see as to be normal, it all changed, and I could feel the air around me. It was always silky smooth, and I could see this mist in the room like now I was talking. Right. And you had to try and justify it some way, and the only way you could make sense of it was, have I passed away here? What's going on? Am I in this kind of limbo land? And it wouldn't always be the case. It would kind of come in and out in waves, because I would have this internal battle thinking, I can't possibly be real, like get out of it, snap out of it.
Yeah.
And I was functioning. That's the scary thing, is as I was functioning, I was holding down a job at the time.
Yeah, so like people wouldn't have really known.
No, this is all going on internally.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was functioning at quite a high level, and I would just have these moments, and it was all going on internally, and it was quite a frightening experience. And it would be, it could be like a chat like me and you now, and sort of significant people in my life.
Yeah.
And it would, I would have to say certain things to apologise for what had happened, and it all came out, and it'd make sense in both, reality and into this kind of psychosis as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was petrifying, but that was the key point of me going to the doctor and seeking help. And so as terrifying as it was, I've got to be grateful for that experience, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have got the help that I need.
100%. So during that time then, so with the attempts, the kind of the thing was always just kind of like a leaflet or something, just like kind of call this number if you're feeling that way again and stuff.
Like I said, with 3 attempts, they weren't always they weren't close together, so I can kind of see the progression of the help that was available on the third time. There's a lot better systems in place to help people, so I was grateful that I got a specific team that helped me through that period. We're in an age now where mental health is very widely spoke about, and there are a lot of boots on the ground organisations that are doing a lot of great work. So we're very lucky in that sense. But that is, like I said, that was my healing journey, and when I felt like I was stable and able to get out and do some good work myself, and that's why we created like Great Adventures.
With the diagnosis then, so I think you mentioned as well about there was like a little moment that you spoke to your mum and stuff about it, wasn't there? And you had a little moment there where you fell into that state, and that's what triggered. Was that what triggered going to the hospital? Yeah,
that was so. Me and you talking now. I was 31 at the time. Me and you talking now. It was very much, I was aware that it was not real, but as I'm describing it, the symptoms started again, and it gone from a conversation of explaining to actually I'm in this moment, here's my chance to say the things I needed to say, and I started breaking down and apologising, and I went fully into this psychotic episode in front of my mum.
Was that because your mind had thought, was that because you thought at that point you thought you passed away?
Yeah, it had come back again, and honestly it was as real as what we're having a conversation now. It was just as real, and like I said, I've been in some situations in my life, let's just say, that was the most scary thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, and that was the trigger point really for the next. Was it pretty much like straight away then you went and got seen about it? Yeah,
next day I was in the doctor's.
What was that like in terms of the diagnosis? How long does something like that take? Is that like a process that you had to go through?
Yeah, I think it was about 3 months. I was seeing people, but for 3 months I was seeing and explaining what's been going on in my life. And then I'd officially got my diagnosis, and the treatment had started. That was a journey in itself. There was certain medication they would try, and not all the medication was responding well to. So that was quite a hard.
So you had to go through a cycle of like different medication and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What did that do to you? So like, what were some of the things that like the side effects of some of that stuff?
Some of them, it was as though you're here but you're not existing. So it's like trapped in my own body. So although I'm here talking and things like that, I just couldn't. I wasn't me. And it wasn't nice. But I had to have faith, and there was a point where I rejected the whole thing because I thought this is not serving me well. And I came off the meds. But it was my partner Joe like convinced me like just keep going with it, keep trying. There will be ones that suit you. You know what I mean? And so I had to have faith and to keep going. And then I got a dosage that was right for me. And
so you kind of found the right medication.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Westwood Recruitment. So if you're looking for top talent or your next career move, Westwood specialises in engineering, construction, facilities management, technology and hospitality, recruitment matching the right people with the right roles globally. They work closely with businesses to understand their needs and deliver high quality candidates quickly and efficiently. And for job seekers, they help professionals find roles that align with their skills, career goals and ambitions. So if you're ready to take the next steps, visit westwoodrecruitment.com. I think you mentioned like after the diagnosis, it was like a bit of a bittersweet, was it? Of like you kind of felt like good that you've been diagnosed with something, but you almost felt like you could have been diagnosed earlier on that stuff. What was happening there with that? Yeah,
so there was the relief where a lot of my periods in my life where I wasn't doing so well, it kind of all made sense. It made sense as to why I'd done what I'd done, and not being a reason, like an excuse, but it just kind of made sense to, and I could accept some of the things a lot easier. But then there was that kind of feeling of a bit of mourning, I guess. It felt like, all right, well, I wish I would have discovered this sooner. But if I had done, would I have experienced life the way that I had as well? And there's got to just be grateful for that. You got the diagnosis and that you're here now, and So then came the acceptance.
You went through, was it like a bit of a crash at that point as well? Was it?
Yeah, I crashed. Yeah.
What did that kind of look like in terms of how that?
So with bipolar, you'll go through phases of mania. And the mania is like a euphoric mania, so you feel great, you're very responsive, you're very creative, and that would be what I would describe as like, I'm back. That would be that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
What happens is if not treated, although that feels great, there's a term called chasing mania where people are struggling with bipolar, they'll chase that feeling. But what happens is if you stay in that for too long, you'll get the lack of sleep because you feel like you don't need it, and all the things will catch up with your thoughts will become too fast. So all this creativity that you got, you can't process it, and you'll struggle with just getting your words out, and you become agitated quite often. And that will lead to a crash eventually. And when you're in that crash, that low moment is, when you don't feel like you want to be here anymore and things like that, and the mind games come with that sort of stuff. So,
and that was what was linked to that cycle that you was in at the beginning and stuff. And during this time now you're taking like different medication, but it's still not like settled on which one and the dosage and everything that you're meant to be.
It was very much like I was aware that I got this condition, but it wasn't stable at the time. So it was a bedding in period, and I would say there's been a few cycles, and then things go wrong, and it's always just having the ability to just be at peace with it and just say, okay, it went wrong this time. what went wrong, what can we do in the future, were the symptoms, was there behavioural traits that, you know, you could have caught earlier on. Certain things that I might do were, if I'm going into the manic phase, I may be really hyper focused on my phone or trying to open too many apps at the same time, and I can just you pick up on your own behaviour, like what's going on for you, and you think, hang on a minute, I need a...
You can spot it a bit now.
Yeah,
that's a good point actually, isn't it? It's like, if you look back at that time, like, do you have a system and I'm certain no medication is part of it, but do you have a system now in terms of like what you do now to kind of help you through them phases compared to what you would have then, which might have been not really anything then?
Yeah.
Do you have a system that you kind of run through now?
Yeah, so my lifestyle really is what keeps me stable. You know, I'll make sure that I go to the gym. Even if the workouts aren't like, you know, absolutely smashing it, as long as I'm there, and I'll go through, I'll just like, what I do is I call it my bare necessities. I call it my bipolar, it's like my bipolar bear. And so I like to kind of play on that, and I'll just think, right, what's my bare necessities that keeps me able to function at a level that I'm happy with. And like the gym and getting out in nature, the walks and stuff like that. That's, you know, it allowed me to start thriving in life again. So and it was that really, getting out in nature and connecting with the hills and stuff, and just allow me to kind of leave it all there and get back, and I felt so much lighter. And that's when I realised, I was like, I want to get people out and show them how good it is, you know what I mean? I kind of rediscovered myself, something that was missing from having to leave the army and things like that. There was a massive loss of my identity when coming out, which led me to a lot of the choices in my life. What I've done and what we've created with me and my wife is just an opportunity to experience some of that adventure again and put that back into my life.
And for other people to kind of be a part of it.
To come and do it. We're a community.
When you started going out for walks and stuff, then what did that look like? Like, did you have places, like, where did you used to go for that stuff? Like, was the routes that you used to take, and what kind of, were they big walks? Like, what kind of stuff are we talking?
So we do, for the community side, we'll keep it as accessible as possible, just to get the numbers in and more of an introduction to getting out and about. But we do bigger walks as well though, and they'll be more for the avid like hikers and things. So
when you got into it then, so at that stage when you started finding out that walking actually was something that could get you on the right kind of path. What was that like? How did you start getting into that? Was you with people doing that at first? Was that by yourself going out?
Just a good friend of mine that I used to work on the doors with. He got out and about and rediscovered, you know, his hiking and loved it. And he was just trying to get me out for a while. I weren't in a great place at the time, so I rejected it a few times. And then I finally pushed myself. I thought, no, come on, Liam, you know, you can't let him down again. I got out, and it was just like a massive kind of epiphany, like, oh, where's this been all my life, you know? Obviously I've done a lot of hiking and getting out and about in the forces, but when you've got all your kit on and you're doing it for a job, it's a bit different to just going out and enjoying it with your friends, you know. And it was, I would say it's like mental health by stealth. It's pretty much the case, because you're just shoulder to shoulder with somebody and you're just putting the world to rights, and, you know, you're getting everything out of your chest, and it gets left there, and that's just the magical thing about it.
Did you find yourself like people that you was out with initially, even though it wasn't Live Great Adventures at this point, did you find yourself like, was it like a little bit of a therapy speaking and stuff when you was out there?
Massively.
And speaking with each other?
Massively, it is, and when you're in a good place, it was easy for me, but it was, what I found was, when I wasn't in a good place, maybe my wife would just say, like, you just push yourself a little bit and get out, and I'd have that kind of internal dialogue, like, I don't want to do it, and trying to make excuses. And then I'd go and I'd have like such a fantastic time, and I thought, that's why you're doing things, you know, it's why you're getting out there. I had to share that with other people, because I know the benefits. It was just, you know what I mean? First hand.
Can you talk about the time then? So obviously setting it up, I know you had your friends that you started this with and setting it up, and going out. I think it was Sean, was it?
No, so basically, yeah, so my wife turned around to me, and it was like failure to launch. We had this idea, and she knew I wanted to do it. Life just keeps getting in the way, and she pushed me really, which I'm super grateful for. She's like, just to set a date.
Yeah.
I'll do the admin, which she regrets to this day. I'll do the admin. You set a date, and it'll happen. And I was like, okay, fine. So I weren't feeling great. We put this date down, and I weren't feeling great one day. I thought, right, just go out, make a video, share it on socials, just inviting people to come on. It was a men's walk and talk, and so I'd pushed myself, gone out for a little walk, and I'd done a few takes, as you do. Not great,
Yeah.
Anyway, finally got one, posted it, and that same day, Sean, a good friend of mine who I served with in the army, just lost his own battle with his mental health. It was that same day, as we posted the video. I woke up the next day to the news, and we had a group chat with the lads that we all served together with. We have this group chat, and the messages started flooding in the morning, like, if anyone's struggling, please open up. I don't want another news like this. And I'm thinking, who is it? So I'm trying to find out who it is, and I got on Facebook, and everybody's got, Sean's profile picture up on as a profile, pictures with him and stuff, and it really hit me because I was always speaking to him the day before that had happened, and so it really, really hit me hard. And so we did the walk as a bit of a memory for Sean and to honour him, and we raised a little bit of money for his family. And it was that first walk that somebody at the end of it had said, after today I realised my life's worth living. Those two things combined, truly, it becomes bigger than you,
Yeah.
So when I'm not feeling great and I'm not feeling like I want to show up and things like that sort of stuff gets me there, keeps me accountable. Keeps me accountable, yeah.
And so that moment there was kind of like, felt like you had to, that's something then that you had to do, really.
Yeah. Live Great Adventures for me is my accountability. That's what it is. On a personal level, I wasn't living a great life. There's things that I've done in my past that I'm not proud of, and decisions that I've made that I'm not proud of. But you can't go back and change them. You can only learn from them and move forwards. And so when I realised that, when I was living a life and it was all about me and I was the centre of my universe, and it was all about what I can take from the world and what I can take from people and things. I realised that in order to live a great life, it's about what you can give, and so, it holds me accountable. It is just something that I always have a little check-in with myself about what am I giving to my family, what am I giving to my friends, the value that, what am I giving to the people that I work with Joe and the volunteers and things, and the community. And I believe that those are the 4 pillars in your life. That's what keeps my internal compass, calibrated and on the right path.
100%.
Yeah.
You had an experience doing things like base camp, with Everest.
So like Sean was due to come to my wedding, and obviously we attended his funeral instead, and I got to meet a lot of the lads that I'd served with that I've not spoke to for years, and one of them, a good friend of mine, Will, he has a walking group down south. And he was like, love what we're doing and stuff like that. It was great to connect with him again. And he said, he'll help us with all the kind of policies and procedures, because we just started. It was very humble kind of beginnings. We're just going out for walks and stuff. And then next minute, these numbers are starting to accumulate and grow, and the community's growing. And we thought we need to become official now. It's something to protect ourselves as well, and to make sure that it's safe for everybody, So he helped us. It was such a selfless character, Will, and he's like, why don't you come along to do base camp? And it's been on my goals, it was one of my bucket list goals, and I was thinking, can I justify getting away from the family and this, that, the other? And I was like, maybe I can't afford it. And he said, just do it and come as part of my company. I thought, I can't really turn that down, really. So I was like, okay, all right, let's do it. And we was just in the kind of formation stage of becoming official as an organisation, and I said, do you not mind if we do some fundraising, you know, suicide awareness, especially with Sean's memory and stuff? And it's like, yeah, do what you need to, you know what I mean? And I just got into a meeting and got a massive sponsorship. And I was so excited to tell Will. I was like, I can't believe it, you know. We've got this massive sponsorship. It's really going to get us set up as an organisation, like. And he was like so happy for us.
Yeah.
4 days later, he had an accident and he fell from Snowdon, and on the 11th, he doing a Remembrance Day walk and just missed his footing and fell 200 metres, and that was Will. I was just in a state of chaos, you know, all things considering, you know, I have got bipolar as well, and my emotional gauge isn't, you know, what would be considered the best, you know, so it really had an impact on me. I'd lost 2 very good friends in that same year, in both tragic circumstances, and it went through this, you know, period like, what we're going to do, you know, and then I would be guilty about thinking about what we're going to do. Like, how can I even think such a thing? And you know, it really had a detrimental impact onto my mental health, and it took a lot of, you know, toll onto the family. And my wife was like, "Look, you know, you need to pull yourself out of this now." She was my rock at that time. She got me out, and we went there with his group. So I kind of carried Sean and Will's memory with me, and it became more of a pilgrimage, I guess. Yeah. For me, more so than an adventure. It was an adventure, but it was something a little bit more. Yeah. But we raised like 12.5 grand. You know, for suicide awareness, and and we'd done a really nice. We did them good. Like, so.
How did that feel when you got up there?
It was an amazing journey. It was the adventure itself. Every day you'd start off, and from the start to the evening, you're in different conditions. Like the scenery had completely changed as you're getting higher and higher. So you go through kind of like these villages, and then there's like wooded area and forestry, and the next minute you're getting up and it's like getting a bit more barren, and then you can see the snow and stuff like that. So it was a really great adventure.
What is it? Is it 16? What's the foot to base camp? How far is it? How far is it?
So 5,364 meters. So we got there. It was a journey. It was an amazing experience.
How long did it take?
So the trip itself I was away for 17 days, but I think to get there from where we started, it was about, we'd done it a little bit faster than usual. We should have had a two days like decompression type of, you know, adjustment, altitude adjustment, but we did it in about 7-8 days or something like that. So it was an amazing walk.
I have heard. So I know a friend of a friend actually did it. And I thought to myself, with obviously you think about Everest, you think about how high that is, and obviously you hear like the stories of, you know, people getting airlifted off and stuff because of the oxygen and everything. You can't. That the guy that I know, that happened to him on base camp.
Wow.
So he was going to base camp, and like obviously I've never done it before, and I've never really experienced anything like that. So, but yeah, he was getting it. He got airlifted off base camp. So
I struggle because I've got exercise-induced asthma, so I'm a quite heavy breather. Yeah. And when you're going up, as soon as you start going incline a little tiny bit, you feel it. You really feel it. It doesn't matter how fit you are, you know, you're in it. And there's a massive mind game to play. And I was like, well, this isn't your fitness, this isn't your phys, you're okay. This is just the altitude. And so just really trying to bring yourself back in the moment, because it does test you. And if you start to hyperventilate, you know, I see people going down all the time.
How did you train for it?
I did a lot of weighted cardio. I packed just a lot more weight than what I would need to carry, so I made sure I was strong enough for that. And just getting out and about. Some of the events that we did with Great Adventures, so we did a 29 mile. It was a leap year challenge, so 29th of February. We did. So I kind of created some of the challenging events that would really marry up with
and,
what I needed to do to achieve what we needed to achieve. So it worked well, really.
Yeah.
Create a life on your terms.
Did you train, so after unfortunately Will passed away, did you continue the training that stage, and did that help you get through that part?
Yeah, so he passed in November, and all my training stopped. A couple of drinks here and there, and then a couple of drinks, got a few more and stuff like that. And if it worked for my wife at the time, she kind of gave me that grace, you're like, something's happened, and and then she got to the point like, right, you need to sort it out now, and I needed a bit of tough love, you know what I mean? And fair play to her, because I don't respond the best to that, but I did, I listened to her. I was like, I need to pull myself out.
Did you just at that point? Did you just?
I got to the stage. So like I said, I got to 19 stone, and it was not an aesthetically pleasing 19 stone. And like, you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, you ain't going to get up, to base camp with this extra baggage that you're gonna have to carry. So, I started off the year. I just started to come down a bit and do a bit of training, and I started off the year about 18 stone 3. I think I was kind of dropped a little bit. But now I'm knocking around like 16. But she was like, right, sort your head out now. This is it. So
that's it. That was what was probably needed at the time for you.
Just it was a comfort and distraction.
One
of the big things. So I live a sober life now. One of the big things, one of the big lessons in my life is we live in a society. It's very much, like the Western world is very much like painkiller society. We got a headache, here's a few pills. You had a stressful day at work, here's a few beers or a few wines. Everything's all about avoiding pain. And through my childhood and things like that, and when I look at like some of the decisions, it's always been about escapism, like, escaping the current situation that you're in. Like, what can I do to get out? But I've learned that pain is like a degree on a compass, your internal compass, that emotional compass, and that's what it is. And the learning to sit with it, and it's showing me something that I need to look at in my life, and it does refine you as a PT and things like that. So you go to gym, you put your body through pain. Then there's a process of recovery, and you come back stronger. Well, same thing happens with emotional pain, and you'll develop a stronger character through it. But you have to learn to sit with it and process it, and I think this journey has taught me that you can't just keep running from things, because it will catch you up. No matter how much you try, it will catch you up, and then you just got to deal with it at the end. You know what I mean? So it's taught me that. It really has taught me that.
And people follow you now in your journey and stuff, and you've obviously now, you lead these groups out and you talk to people about this stuff. What are some of the key things like that you would tell people, and that do tell people that are struggling, with the mental health and stuff?
There's strength in surrender. There is strength in surrender. We like to feel that we're independent, and sometimes it'll come at detriment to ourselves. We're too proud to reach out, but there are people out there that want to help people. The people out there, and there are services there that are willing, to just help you along your journey. We're all in this life together. I always say to people, we're all serving a life sentence. You're not going to get out of life. How we respond and who we serve while we're here is the main question, and I just like to provide a space for people to just explore that. I always say I struggled a lot with self-worth. I always believed that I wasn't worthy of love, I wasn't worthy of these things, and that was through childhood, and I battled with it a lot, and it was a journey into my faith where I realised that actually my worth isn't based upon my works, and that I'm worthy because we're created in the image of the Creator. And I try to provide an environment, and I don't go preaching, but I just provide space, and I ask a few questions for people to do that inner exploration. So it's not just always about stepping outside on the hills. It's always about, you maybe step outside, but you look inside. It's a really important thing. And we have actually brought Live Great Adventures now into the indoor environment because, you know, weather permitted. Not
Yeah.
everybody wanted to get out on the hills and, you know, in the rain and in the elements.
Yeah.
So we have, you know, ventured indoors, and we got a men's group and stuff like that. And in the men's group, it's honestly, there's some really kind of groundbreaking work that's done there, and it is honourable. I would say it's such an honour to be able to sit there and just help facilitate people that are willing to do that work, that are willing to explore some really dark parts of the life, and to hold it out and share it, and you know, with like-minded people that are all just wanting people to succeed, and wanting people to live a great life, and just hold that space. And you know, there might be a big table around. I always say to people, you know, you may be sharing something and that this guy here might have the answer to, and this guy might share, and this guy might have the answer to, but if you don't share it, you never know, you know. And I don't have all the answers, and I think that's one thing is that helps people, is that the strength in vulnerability as well. I'm an open book. I'll lay out, you know, I never sit on a pedestal for nobody. I'm in it side by side, and I'm in this journey with you, and people respect that. They can lower their guard. You know, if I can speak quite freely about the things that I've done, and the things that I've battled through, it gives them the confidence to do the same. You know, to remove the shame and the stigma that there actually still is around in society, unfortunately, but to remove that shame and the stigma about mental health and to some of the things, and just open it up and say, look, okay, if it doesn't serve you anymore, let's lay it on the table. Don't carry it in this kind of, I call it like my burden of sin. Look, we've all got a past. We've all got things that we're not, you know, necessarily proud of, but if I'm not willing to accept those things, I wouldn't have created with Joe. I wouldn't have created Live Great Adventures. Yeah. So really, in a sense, I've got to be grateful for all that darkness. It allowed me to you know, to experience what we're experiencing now and do the work. You know, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have created it. So I show people that it's safe to do that. That it's okay to do that. And once you can lay it out there and extract the lessons, it's more of an investment. I always say to people, it's, you know, all our mistakes, all our regrets that what we have, they can become investments. Every investment will cost you an initial down payment. So, you know, it might cost you, you know, a job or a family or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, some cost more than others, but if it's refined your character, if you've taken what you need from it and shaped you in a way that moving forward, you know, you're going to act accordingly. It's an investment, and so then you can let go of the shame, you can let go of the regret, and all the things that are trying to drag you back into the dark. You bring it to the light, you know, and we take what we can from it and move forward, because that's all we can do, you know.
Yeah. Listening to you, I'm thinking in terms of where you've got your inspiration from and people that you've turned to speak the way you speak about things now. Where have you found like people are now coming to you and going to your groups? Where have you kind of, who have you got this side from, and how's that developed to where you are now?
That's a good question.
Has it just been natural? You've just kind of
That's a good question, mate.
Yeah.
So I struggled with kind of a male role model in my life. I struggled with that at first. Didn't really have what I needed. I said this the other day to somebody. You become what you needed as a child. And it's quite poetic. It's quite sad, but it's also quite poetic. And I needed somebody to protect me, and I needed somebody to be an authority figure, and to be a leader, and to stop some of the things that was going on in my life. But I never had it, so you become it. And so joining the military, martial arts, and things like that, and security, all these things, you think, why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
Because you need it as a kid. Now I like my biggest accountability partner, the one that keeps me straight, is it's all in one big book, you know. And I sought a relationship with God. I realised that I couldn't continue carrying what I was carrying. when Sean passed away, I used to drive past this church every day to go to the gym. It's part of my routine. But I'd always kind of clock this little church. It's always a little humble one along the journey. And just one day I decided just to go in. I was like, let's go, just enter. And it was very surreal to me. I wasn't raised in a family that was in any way religious or anything, and I don't think I'm religious, to be honest. I think I seek more of a relationship, to be honest, rather than religion. I don't really like the politics, anything like that. I place my faith in God, not in a religion. But it got me to walk through the door. Sean's death got me to walk through the door, and this guy Chris, who was running it at the time, you could see I was pretty lost, and he had a chat with me. And honestly, I opened my heart for about an hour and a half, and I confessed some things that, you just think, like, who's going to want to talk to you after some of the stuff? And this guy was amazing. He just heard me. He just held the space. He listened to these things. And at the end of it, all he said was, "Can I pray for you?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, I had no judgment there. Like, I've just, shared some things there that, and he just, "Can I pray for you?" I was like, "Of course you can." And he sat and he prayed, and I felt lighter. I did. Then when I walked out, and I'll never forget that day. It just, for somebody to sit and hear some of the darkest times of your life, the things that you're not really too keen on, the things that make you still shudder to this day. He heard them all. And he just held space and just wanted to pray for me. And I thought, that was amazing. And it started that journey for me.
Was that like quite a defining moment?
Massively, I'm in definitely no way I'm a saint at all, but I always say to myself, more of a soldier for God now. And the morning, part of my morning routine, like I would say, we talk about mental health. We've got mind, body, spirit. People know these things to be true, but actually we only separate them through our words. They're not separate in any way. They form the whole, the being that we are. I try to drop those seeds into people as well, to hopefully that they'll start to seek out and journey in that way as well. But for me, it really, just for him to hold the space, it got me into that kind of seeking something more profound. And like I said, it become part of my morning routine. Prayer is a massive thing for me, and I struggled with it at first. I did. I felt a little bit daft at the time, I thought, is this psychosis for me to pray? Is this just another form of psychosis? And I had all these kind of internal battles going on, and then I just surrendered. Again, strength in surrender. I was like, just surrender to it. Just allow it to the possibility. Allow for the possibility. And since doing that, I would say my healing journey has truly taken off. Has it got easier? No. The naive me thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get forgiveness for everything, and life's going to be easier. Absolutely not, because now you're accountable. Now you have got this moral compass, this little whisper in your ear every time you go to do something. That's not how you should be doing it, and it keeps you on track.
It keeps you there.
It really does, doing things like that, like, so my morning routine, my morning prayer would be something simple like, Dear Father, I bless you for this day. I bless you for the lessons and the blessings in my life. I ask for eyes to see and ears to hear whatever it is that he wants me to see and hear this day. I ask for the wisdom to understand what it is that I'm seeing and hearing. And I ask for him to guard my tongue and guide my words, so that his word be spoken through me at a level that is understood to whoever it is that's hearing the words. I ask to cross my heart in hopes to die to the flesh, so that I can walk in the spirit, knowing that your will be done above mine, and for him to guide my path for that day. And then there may be a list of things that's been bugging me, and I'll bring that to the, but it's kind of, and
that's how you would start.
It sets my day up. Yeah. It sets my day up.
Still to now?
Still now, yeah. Still now. It sets my day up, and it has allowed me to, like I said, life hasn't got easier. It's given me the tools to process the pain, to find purpose in the pain, you'll never avoid it. To rest in peace is to live in pain. Look, we're all going to experience it. It's when you can find purpose through the pain, and if you can create something beautiful as well, amazing, you know. Yeah. Amazing. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Find purpose in the pain and create something beautiful, and that's what we try to do with Live Great Adventures. It makes all, you know, the things that I don't want to think about, the things that I struggle with, why I stuttered at the beginning of this podcast. Yeah. You know, all the things, you know, the reasons why not to do well or not to do this. It always tries to drag you back, but finding purpose in the pain and to create something and to go over and to help other people, that to me is my ultimate goal. And I think that to live a life worthy of death is the ultimate goal for me. You know, I tried the other way and it didn't work. Thank God for that. But now I'm here. I will serve. I will take it that's my duty, to go back into those dark places, to go back where people are struggling, and just to say, you know, if I can do it, I was a very stubborn individual. I've tried my way so many times, and you know, I got humbled many times. But if I can do it, then you can do it too. And I'm happy to walk alongside them while they do it.
Yeah, you honestly, like you need to be, and I know you will be, massively proud of what you've been through and where you are today. Thanks. And you are Live Great Adventures, and what you do and what Joe do, it's only going to get bigger, and more people are going to see it, and more people are going to listen to you and join you alongside. So honestly, I know that's not easy, and we spoke about this at the beginning. It's not an everyday situation sitting here talking about this stuff, and you're seeing at the beginning, you know, you're at that moment and stuff, didn't you? But you've just gone through all that, and you've just explained that, and you got into a flow that was like, do you know what I mean? It was just a flow, and people will want to listen, and people will want to see more of that. And I'm going to put everything I can into putting the details on the podcast, on the description, everything around. We're usually on the website, the link and so on, so people can go on. Honestly, thank you.
Thank you, mate. Like I said, really it is hard for me to go back. It is hard, and I do struggle because it's not the things that you want to necessarily